imposters, scammers, and other criminal elements who might want to take advantage of the recruitment process to dupe them. And the People's Democratic Party on Saturday condemned the shutdown of all ongoing corruption allegation investigations in the House of Representatives. The party describes the decision to halt the sitting of various committees carrying out investigation on allegations of corruption against the executive arm of government as a deliberate design to cover up the corruption in the APC administration. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary Kola Ologbodiyan, the party charged the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, to stop evading the statutory duties of the House of Representatives and placing wedges in the way of the fight against corruption by the legislature. The PDP described the shutdown order by the APC leadership of the House of Representatives as a clear example of corruption fighting back from within the government circle, which must be condemned by all Nigerians. The party noted that such invasion into the activities of the committees is to quench the fight against corruption as well as frustrate whistleblowers. The Independent National Electoral Commission has released the list of the Ondo State governorship election scheduled to hold on October 10, 2020. In a statement issued on Friday by Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee Festus Okoye, the release followed a weekly regular meeting which held on August 20th, where the Commission deliberated on the conduct of the exercise in subsequent elections. Okoye explains that 4 political parties that earlier made valid nominations substituted their candidates. While urging political candidates and their parties to be guided accordingly, the electoral umpire asked members of the public to check its website for the final list. The political parties include the All Progressives Congress, the People's Democratic Party, and 15 other political parties. And KUFM News continues right after this break. Just stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Still in the news, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel has made a case for the establishment of a petroleum depot in the state to boost his administration's efforts to open up the state's economy and provide employment opportunities for the teeming unemployed youth in the South state. The governor made the call when the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, and members of the board of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation visited him at the government house in Uyo. He said it is regrettable that the state, which is home to about 25% of the petroleum and gas deficits in Nigeria, does not have any petroleum depot. Drawing the minister's attention to the fact that Akwa Ibom is strategically positioned in the Gulf of Guinea, Governor Emmanuel said by virtue of its location and the abundant human and natural resources embedded in its landscape, the state would be an investor's heaven if the right policies are in place. And the newly appointed acting Vice Chancellor, University of Lagos, Professor Mololu Shoyinbo, has stepped down. This is subsequent upon the federal government's directive on Friday that the University Senate nominates an acting Vice Chancellor. The Governing Council, led by Pro-Chancellor Dr. Wale Babalakin, had appointed Soyombo last week after it sacked Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe. Soyombo, in a statement on Saturday, said it was necessary he did so because the government has directed UNILAG Senate to nominate an acting VC for the varsity. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities on Saturday commended the president and visitor to the University of Lagos, Muhammad Buhari, for recognizing the role of the institution's Senate in its governance. The chairman, ASU UNILAG, Dr. Dele Ashiru, said in an interview that it was praiseworthy that the Nigerian leader allowed due process by respecting the legal role of the Senate, which the suspended Governing Council chairman, Dr. Wale Babalakin, failed to recognize. And the West African School Certificate Examination, WASC, took off on Monday after several months of delay. How does it feel for the students, teachers, and other stakeholders who now struggle with a new reality? Details on our Extra Voices. After several months of contemplation, the federal government finally granted permission to schools to reopen and conduct the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASC. The long halt was as a result of the shutdown that followed the coronavirus pandemic. In this edition of Extra Voices, Nosakai Uwadiai highlights the journey to school reopening and how students and education stakeholders are adjusting to the demand of new reality in the sector.
The federal government of Nigeria ordered the reopening of schools for students effective 4th of August in preparation for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Some states of the Federation, including Edo State, could not resume that day following their inability to meet the guidelines set by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The Permanent Secretary, Edo State Ministry of Education, Stella Imaswe, said they needed time to put the precautionary measures on ground before school reopening.
Although the federal government said 4th of August, but we need time to put these precautionary measures on ground before we allow our children to go to school.
Even as the state government plans to put things in proper shape, the chairman of School-Based Management Committee, Emotan College, Benin City, Pa Unamure Izedon, is not happy with the state of the college.
I don't feel too comfortable because since we have been at home, the school has been under the hoodlums. No doors and no fence, nothing to protect the school. As a girls' school, they need to be given some facilities like a toilet, water system and everything to ease themselves. All these things should be provided by the Ministry of Education.
What is the community doing about this development.
The community, we wrote a beautiful letter to the Ministry of Education and the copy sent to the governor. They sent the contract. The contractor came here, he said he was ready to do the job, but no fund.
In a swift reaction, the permanent secretary faulted the committee for not doing their job.
The essence of school-based management committee is for them to assist government in ensuring that the schools in their neighborhood is well taken care of. They should own the school as their own, in terms of ensuring that even that teachers go there to teach well, in terms of ensuring that the facilities on ground are well taken care of, and even in terms of security.
On 10th of August, students of both private and public schools who enrolled for the certificate exams resumed